I am thrilled to be here with you. My name is Jasmine, and I live my life by two words. Carpe diem. Anybody heard of that phrase? Seize the day, yes! Does anybody say YOLO in here? Anybody a YOLO fan? Couple YOLOs. Okay, let's see, carpe diem. If you're a carpe diem person or a YOLO, I'm gonna do a little carpe diem, raise your hand. Okay. YOLO, raise your hand. I think the carpe diem is winning, and I am excited. I learned about carpe diem, which is Latin, for someone over there said, seize the day, when I was about your age. In high school, in 11th grade English, and we were studying all the tragedies, and Horace said this Latin phrase to Julius Caesar, and it stuck with me. And it stuck with me originally because I thought, that's a nice little thing to say, carpe diem, seize the day. You know, instead of saying have a good day, I'd say seize the day. And then a friend of mine passed away, and I realized that, you know, not only do old people die, because up until that time, the only people I knew that had passed away were my grandparents, but young people pass away also. But more importantly, I learned that life can change for the good or the bad in the blink of an eye. So it became my mantra. So today, we are going to talk about how you can seize your life. So that's taking carpe diem and multiplying it by 365, because we're going to seize your life each and every day, every year. So when you think about seizing your life, I define seizing your life as the ability to fully engage in the present while continually striving towards your vision. Does that make sense? I think a lot of times we can be very outwardly focused, and we live in this era of when I graduate from high school and I'm in college, when I get my license, when I get my braces off, when I get on the dean's list, when I get on the honor roll, after I take the ACT. So it's always this when I, and we're missing the life that's happening right here today. We're missing that where are we? We're in Denver. We're at the LEAD conference. So we have this wonderful opportunity to connect and network and make new friends and get to know our classmates in a completely different way. But we might be thinking, I got that test next week, and I got all this homework to do when I get home on Sunday. So we are back in that when I phase as opposed to fully engaging in the present moment. So you seize your life on these pillars: vision, belief, grounding, and work. Let me say that again: vision, belief, grounding, and work. So what do I mean when I say vision? Anybody know this guy? Yeah, LeBron James. What do they call him? King James? Anybody play basketball? Ooh, okay. Anybody a basketball fan? Okay. So we know King James and his team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they just won the NBA championship this year, which is huge, right? But you see in this picture right here, he says, I'm coming home. LeBron James is originally from Cleveland, and Cleveland is home to him. He already has one of those NBA championship rings on. So LeBron James started playing basketball at a very young age, and he was playing for his hometown team, Cleveland, and they weren't doing so well. But LeBron, while playing for the team and fully being engaged with life at home, realized that he wanted to be an NBA champion winning basketball player, and he made a move. He moved to Miami, and he played with the Miami Heat for, I don't know how many years, I want to say. Anybody know how many years? 12. Wow, that's a very long time. And they won about, 4 times that they win, Miami, with him? That whole trifecta group they had going on. But he had this vision of being an NBA champion basketball player, and he realized that even though he loved Cleveland, he loved being in the hometown, who doesn't love being at home around the things that are comfortable and familiar? You got your parents, you got your friends, you've got all the places that you know. He stretched because he realized he needed to go to a different team, a team that shared his vision. So when we talk about vision, vision is the external expression of your dreams and goals and desires. Anybody want to share their vision? Anybody have a vision that's just burning? They're like, huh? No? Oh, okay. What's yours? You want to have your own kindergarten class, so that means you want to be a teacher, right? And you want to be a fully awesome teacher, right? And that's wonderful that you are able to express your vision and share it, because so many of us have these desires and we have these hopes and we have these wishes, and we don't share them with anybody, and we keep them all bottled up inside. And I think when we keep them all bottled up inside, we can be working towards some, like the little train. Anybody remember the little train? I think I can, 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 I think I can. I am. But you can't get there by yourself. You've got to let other people help you. You've got to have a team. You've got to have support. And so by appropriately sharing your vision with people, they might remember. What's your name? Kaylin. If I knew you, Kaylin, I might say, gosh, there's this, opportunity to be an intern in a summer kindergarten class, and I know this girl in high school who would be great for that opportunity. And how wonderful would that be on your resume? Right? Wouldn't that be wonderful on her resume? And I would only have known that is because she shared her vision with me. But if she hadn't shared her vision with anyone, when an opportunity presented itself that might help her prepare for her future, she would have missed it. Anybody know her? Yeah? Are we Taylor fans here? Anybody a Taylor Swift fan? Woohoo! I'm a Taylor Swift fan. So Taylor Swift, she's been in the game a while, right? And she switched from country to pop. And now she's just like, I don't even know. She's almost like Queen Tyler. They say Queen Bee, but I think it should be maybe Princess Tyler, because you don't think so? Are you a Beehive member? I don't know. I think Taylor is pretty good. But anyway, Taylor is doing it in her own way, but she had this important thing. She believed in her ability, and she had a belief that she was going to be a great pop star, a great musician. And so she worked towards her vision, and she believed in herself, and she believed that her vision would come to fruition. So when I talk about belief, a belief is a deep-rooted knowing that your vision will come to fruition. And I think sometimes when we think about believing things, we get so caught up in the how, like we get caught up in this when I. We get caught up in, well, gosh, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to become a kindergarten teacher? Some of the steps. You've got to go to graduate from high school, go to college, take the teacher certification. But sometimes we just get so caught up in the minute details that we miss what's going on. And we're not seizing the day, nor are we seizing our lives, because we're too caught up in the details. And another thing that we do sometimes that we believe is we believe these negative things about ourselves. I call them limiting beliefs. We believe, sometimes I'm not attractive, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve this. Has anybody ever had a negative belief about themselves? Let's be honest. Yeah, And so those negative beliefs get in the way of us achieving our vision, because they cloud us and we think, oh, I'm not entitled, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. So when we hear those negative thoughts, I call it the negative chatter. Sometimes I said, oh, I got these roommates in my head and they talk and they disrupt me and they confuse me. Anybody have those people? in your head? Yeah? And you're like, shut up. I'm having to tell mine to shut up sometimes. Anyway, those people, they can prevent us from achieving our vision because they are drowning out the voice of that deep-rooted knowledge that we know that we can achieve what we want to achieve for our lives and that we can seize our lives. The next thing when we talk about seizing our lives is that we have to be grounded. And what does grounded mean? Anybody ever seen this movie, Pretty Woman? It's a classic, right? I call it a classic. So there's this scene in the movie where they're out, like, after the shopping scene, and they go to the park, and they are walking in the grass. Anybody remember that, barefoot? And she's like, I like to walk in the grass barefoot. That was her way of being grounded. And sometimes we get so caught up in achieving our vision or working on our belief that we don't have anything to stay connected to. So when I talk about being grounded, it is, your moral compass. How responsible are you? What is your code of conduct for your life? What is your integrity? Can we put the slide back up? How courageous are you? Is honesty important? What are the things that you know without a doubt, they're kind of like your code of conduct, your values, you will not infringe on, you will not cross over as you try to seize your life by achieving your vision. You know that, I got this line right here, and I'm not crossing it no matter what. Even if somebody says, hey, you can be a kindergarten teacher, but all you need to do is get me these test answers, and I'll get you your certification right now. You wouldn't do it, would you? Because that's crossing your moral code. So we have to be grounded, and we have to know what we stand for and what we won't stand for. Now it's so funny, I was talking to a couple of people outside, and I was talking about this movie, Richie Rich, and I said, gosh, I remember that, Macaulay Culkin, and we were talking about the Biltmore Estate in Nashville, and she's like, no, I don't remember it. I'm like, oh, but it was a cartoon, and it was so good. I know you're not going to know this reference, but I'm hoping some of you might watch Grey's Anatomy. Anybody watch Grey's Anatomy? Yeah? Okay, so the lady in this clip is Debbie Allen, who has a cameo. You guys know her. She plays the doctor's wife, and now she's trying to get her husband fired and actually have Bailey do it. You know what I'm talking about? Catherine? Yep. So Catherine, many years ago, and this was actually before my time. I think it must have been in syndication when I was a kid, but she was on this television show called Fame. And it was about, anybody heard of Fame? Yeah. So, it's about these performing arts kids in New York, and they wanted to be on Broadway, and they wanted to be in the movies. They wanted to make it big. And she had this powerful saying, and I'm going to let you key me up.
Well, fame costs, and right here is where you start paying in sweat.
So maybe can we rewind it? I think they missed the first part, but it says, you want fame, fame costs, and right here is where you start paying. And how you start paying it, and when I talk about seizing your life, is through the work that you do. And, we all have to do work. Some work we want to do, some work we don't want to do. There's some things that I love to do in my job. Like I can bang out a presentation, I can do some emails, but I don't really like Excel and the balancing of the books and, following up on, and that's not my thing, Or how many people like studying in here, genuinely like studying? Oh, that's great. How many people don't like studying? But how many people know you've got to get good grades to get to the next level? So that's a part of the work that you've got to do, right? Whether you like it or you don't like it. And most of us don't like it, but it's the required work. You know, we think about Miss Beyonce fan over there. I read that Beyonce, when she is preparing for a tour, will be in rehearsals for 14 hours a day. Can you imagine that? Has anybody ever practiced anything for 14 hours? No. I mean, that's intense, right? In those hills, but that's why she looks so good at it, because she is practicing it. She is doing the required work to achieve her vision and seize her life. So when we talk about the Seize Your Life process, it is, anybody remember, it starts with vision, right? What do we want? And then what do we have to do about our vision? We believe. And then we've got to be grounded. And then we got to do the work. Sounds pretty easy, right? But why is it so hard for so many people? I think it's hard for people because, one, they don't want to do the work. Two, those limiting beliefs really get in the way. And so one of the things that I want to put out to you guys today is, as you are here with your schoolmates and you're meeting people from all over the country, what do we have, 27 states represented today? I want you to find a partner. And this is going to be your vision partner. And hopefully you guys can connect via social media, via email, via text, once a month to see how you're doing on achieving your vision for just this school year. So we're not even talking about 5 years down the line. We're just staying fully engaged in this school year. So if somebody has a goal of making a team, someone has a goal of getting a certain score on the SAT or ACT, getting your driver's license, becoming class president, whatever your goal or vision is for the rest of this school year, I want you to find a partner. You're going to share it, and you're going to follow up with them once a month. Can you guys do that? Does that sound like? Yeah? You want to be my partner? Okay, what's your name? Noah, where are you from? Okay, barbecue, right? You said Missouri? Oh, okay, you don't want me to get it confused with Kansas, right? That's a very big rival. You can't get Kansas City, Missouri confused with Kansas City, Kansas. Okay, no, we're going to exchange. We're going to be partners, so. So, why are you guys here? You're here to, what's the theme of this conference? What is the theme of this conference? What is the theme of this? Yeah, okay, let's say it. So, okay, why are you here this weekend? Wait a minute, why are you here? Are you energizing your leadership or energizing my leadership? All right? Yeah. So why are you here this weekend? All right. So what does an energized leader look like? You guys sound like some energized leaders. But I believe an energized leader is a leader that is equipped and empowered to lead with creativity, commitment, intention, and resiliency. So that's a lot. That's a big, lofty role. So let's break it down. I have this little formula. I love processes. I love formulas. B plus invest equals energized leader. How simple is that, right? Very simple. So you have to be. Has anybody, we don't even think about that little easy two-letter word, B-E, B. What can we be? We can be a doctor. We can be a slacker. We can be happy. We can be responsible. We can be anything we want to be. Do you believe that? Yeah. But, when you talk about being an energized leader, there are some things that you have to be. So the first thing that you have to be is you have to be open and flexible. Because, as leaders, we are not only dealing with the things that we are managing personally, sometimes we're, managing outside boards, you're managing your clubs, you're managing your student organizations, and things go awry, right? Life does not always go as planned. There will be hiccups, there will be things that come out of the blue, there will be wonderful opportunities that present themselves, and you're like, but that wasn't a part of the plan, but it's so great, I want to do it. So you have to allow yourself to be flexible, and you have to allow yourself to be open, because we know that there will be things that present themselves. That make sense? Anybody remember this person? Curious George. I loved Curious George, and I'm so happy to see he's still around. And you can even stream Curious George on Hulu these days. It makes me smile. And what was Curious George? He was curious. Anybody who had the Curious George book series in here? And the man with the yellow hat, right? And what did Curious George do? Curious George would travel. Curious George would work. Curious George would eat. He did the gamut. I think he's still doing a bunch of different things these days. But we have to allow ourselves to be curious. One of the ladies that I really enjoy reading her books, her name is Elizabeth Gilbert. And Elizabeth Gilbert talks about passion and purpose. And I think a lot of times passion and purpose are really lofty phrases, and it can be a little bit intimidating when I hear that. It's like, people are like, what are you passionate about? I don't know. Life. Well, I like to read. School. What's your purpose? I don't know. I'm only 15. I'm only 16. How many times have you heard passion and purpose? Let's be real. Do you hear it a lot? Does it get on your nerves? We're keeping it real, right? It gets on because it gets on my nerves. Because I think, people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to passion and purpose. We are not born, and as we go through life, all of a sudden we know, I am passionate about this, or this is my purpose. I know my purpose is to start a kindergarten school in Zimbabwe and make sure all the Zimbabwe children read. No. I don't know. I think I just want to be a kindergarten teacher for right now. I don't have this big purpose. But I think if we allow ourselves to be like Curious George and follow our curiosity in a safe way and work here and travel, maybe take a foreign language, do a study abroad. I know there's some colleges that are going to be here today and tomorrow, and they might not be on your target school list. How many people, juniors and seniors, can you raise your hands again? So juniors and seniors, do you already have a list of schools that you're thinking you're going to apply to? Raise your hands. So what are your thoughts on the schools that are here at the conference? Are you going to go visit them? They're on your schedule. But even if they're not on your list, I want to encourage you to follow a little curiosity and have a conversation, because you might never know. When I was your age, I wanted to go to this school called Wake Forest. I'm from Atlanta originally. I live in Minneapolis now. I wanted to go to Wake Forest. I was a debater in high school. Anybody debate? Four-man policy was my genre, and so debate is completely different now. I was in the era where we carried these big boxes, so we didn't have the computers, and we literally would go to the library and clip cards. But anyway, Wake Forest had a great debate program, and every year I would get the Wake Forest debate camp book, and it had different evidence and things that we could use for our cases. So I thought, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to go to Wake Forest. I visited Wake Forest and I did not like Wake Forest. Oh, and this was my senior year. So what am I going to do? My parents had both gone to HBCUs, different schools, and I knew that I didn't want to go to their colleges. No offense to where they went. I just knew I wanted something different. I knew that I wanted to go away from home, but the clock was winding down, and it was like September, and applications were due, and I had no idea where I wanted to go to school. And I thought, my debate partner from the year before was at Miami in Ohio. Oh, I could go to Miami in Ohio. And the little recruiter came, and she was very honest with me. She said, Jasmine, you would not like it at Miami in Ohio. We are located in the middle of cornfields, and we are an hour and some change from the closest city. And I said, oh yeah, I like town living, but I need to be closer than an hour and a half from action. So this is back in the day where we had these things called CD-ROMs. I did this little program, and American University came up. And it happened to be, I guess maybe because it was on the A's, I convinced my mom to allow me to go and visit American, and it actually was the perfect school for me, or at least I thought it was the perfect school based on that feeling. It was about this thing called FIT. People used to talk about that. Do you guys hear about that, FIT? I knew I wanted to be close to a city, but not in a city. I wanted to be at a school that had an international focus. I wanted to be at a school where there was a good business program. So it had my little checklist. But if I had been so rigid and not followed my curiosity, I would have missed out on the opportunity if I would have just said, oh, that lady, she doesn't know me. This recruiter doesn't know me. Maria's at Miami. I'm going to love Miami. I already got a friend there. But no, I had to do a little bit more work, had to be a little bit more curious to find the ideal school for me. Now, you guys got this one down, but I have to say it. You have to be of service. We live in a world, and it's a world. And, last night, you guys launched your global change movement, which I love that. I know that the world is all connected. I get excited when I hear talk about Pangea. Remember Pangea? Anybody remember Pangea? Interesting story. I was out of the country speaking last week, and I talked to this guy, and he's a geopolitician something, and we got on the world being connected, and I said, yeah, I don't know why, but I just love Pangea. And he said, you know what? The continents are actually going to come back together, and they're calling it Amasia. Has anybody heard of this? First time I heard of it last week. So anyway, if you're a Pangea fan like me, Amasia is supposedly coming. I don't think it'll come in my lifetime, but the continents supposedly will be shifting together. And what that reminds us is that we are all connected in some shape or form. I think a lot of times we get very connected or focused on what's important to me, what's important to my tribe, what's important to my squad, right? It's all about me, my squad, my tribe. And we forget that we are all connected and that in some way we need to be our brothers and our sisters or our classmates' keeper, and we have a responsibility to make sure that other people are getting the things that they need and that they deserve in their lives. You can't be all focused on achieving your vision just for yourself, right? And you can't be focused on just volunteering because, I know it's going to look good on my college application, or my mom makes me do this. You should really try to find a way to be of service in a manner that is pleasing to you. I had an Uber driver a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to him, and I said, why do you do this? And he said, oh, I love Uber. And I said, why do you love being Uber? And he said, because I love being of service. And I said, an Uber driver of service? And I thought about it, and he went on to say, yes, yes, yes. I love to open the doors. He had an accent. I love to open the doors for my customers. I love to put the bag in the trunk. And I buy this water and these mints because sometimes people are thirsty or they want a mint. And I thought, wow, I guess an Uber driver can be of service, and other than just driving me from point A to point B, that his little nice things of opening the door, providing water, providing mints, are the way that he is being of service to others. I love Malayla. Anybody know her? What a fantastic story. To continue to go to school, even though the Taliban were saying that women should not be educated. She's like, no, education is important to me. Education is important to my family. I believe as a woman, as a female, that I have the right, and despite the obstacles, I'm going to be courageous, and I'm going to continue. And sometimes we've got to find the courage. You know, a lot of people talk about fear, and fear is the great holdback. I mean, that's the biggest hater out there in the world. You want to talk about haters? That is fear. Sometimes we have to conquer our fears, and we've got to find ways to be courageous. And we've got to find them in the little things, because there might not always be big opportunities like going to school and facing the Taliban. I don't think that's going to happen to any of us. But you know, sometimes we will see little opportunities to be courageous. Maybe it's speaking up for a person that's being unfairly picked on. You know, is that a way you can be courageous? How many times have you seen something and you've not commented and you thought, probably really should have said something, you know? Or you can be courageous as you are being a service, because you are going maybe to a place where people would say, don't go there, that's not the safest neighborhood, or, you know, those people. But have the courage to venture out of your safety nets. Have the courage to find and do new things. Anybody have an iPhone? Okay, this is what I want you to do. If you have an iPhone, I want you to pull it out. I have an iPhone. I brought my phone up. I think I did. And our hashtags for today are LeadCo, and my personal hashtag that I always use is Seize Your Life. So I want you to, anybody, what do you guys do? Are you doing Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram? Instagram? IG? Okay. So 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, a minute and a half, right quick. Take a selfie with the person next to you and post it on whatever platform you want to use. Do it right quick because I want us to trend. We're in Colorado. We should get Lead CO trending this morning. Okay, I'm going to get one too, guys. Okay, everybody. This is my little group. I think I have to do it in 2 parts. I'll come over here to you guys. I'm going to come over to you guys. Try not to fall off the stage. So, Lead CO, Lead CO, and Seize Your Life. Okay, everybody got their selfies? Everybody got them posted? So there's a story about the iPhone. You guys might remember this guy, Steve Jobs. Remember him? When I was very young in school, there were these things, these computers. Computers were, you know, just coming into being personal computers and coming home. And there were computers called Apple IIGS's, and we used those in the computer lab. But they went out, and Steve Jobs got booted out of Apple, the company that he co-founded. And he went on to found Pixar and some other companies. But he had the opportunity. Can you hear me okay? Hello? Better? Okay. He had the opportunity to come back to Apple. And he did. But he was a failure at Apple at first, or what some people would call a failure at Apple, because he was booted by the board of directors of the company he founded. Anybody know her? Harry Potter, right? J.K. Rowling. She, first, when she wrote the Harry Potter series, she didn't think that she had a limiting belief. She didn't think that people would accept the book written by a woman. So she used a fake name. She used Robert. So she penned the book as she would send out letters and inquiry letters under the name Robert, and I can't pronounce the last name, because she had a limiting belief that people wouldn't accept the book from a female author. But not only did they didn't accept the book from Robert either. She got over 12 rejection letters before she got the first the first acceptance for Harry Potter. And what a phenomena is Harry Potter today, right? How many of you read all the books? Who's going to see them? You've seen the movies? You don't like it? Yeah, it's a classic. I'm a Harry Potter girl too. So we have to remember that we cannot be afraid to fail, because we learn from our failures. I love this little point up in the corner about startups. You guys know about startups and venture capitalists. Anybody have a startup in here? Anybody have a business idea that they're floating? Oh, what's your startup? A teen-operated lawn service franchise. Is it in place now? You're starting the franchise next year, right? And where do you live now? Okay, so where's your first franchise going to be? So, oh wow. And then how many people are you start working on this project with? 4. So for you guys that didn't hear him, he has a teen lawn service that's franchising starting next year, and there are 4 of them. The founding team is 4 people. So this, let's go back to the slide. This quote I love is that startups that pivot, and pivot is the nice word that people use in Silicon Valley, is that they make a big mistake and they kind of fail, so they pivot. Maybe they thought they were going to do this, like Airbnb had to pivot because the first way they went about doing business, they weren't retaining enough customers. But startup companies that pivot raise 2.5 times more money, and then they have 3.6 times the growth as companies that just get it right out the bat. Bill Gates, you guys familiar with Bill Gates? He started Microsoft. He says he won't even invest in a company. A lot of startups come to him, and he asks them, how many times have you failed? And if you haven't failed 2 times, if you haven't had 2 different companies that you started or 2 major failures that you can speak to and talk about your learnings, he won't invest. He won't give you any money. Can you believe that? I was shocked when I learned that. Walt Disney World. Anybody been to Disney World, Disneyland? Walt Disney. Do you know he used to work at a newspaper? He started his career at a newspaper. At the age of 25, he was fired from that newspaper. You know why he was fired from that newspaper? You know what the feedback he was given? That he was not creative. And what did he go on to do, right? Oprah Winfrey. She was fired from being a news anchor because they told her that she did not have a good television presence. And who did she become later in her career? And then I love this again, I'm a big J.K. Rowling fan, that she pinned her first rejection letter to her kitchen wall because it gave me something in common with all my favorite writers. So all the greats have failed. So you have to be not afraid to fail in life. You've got to go after things. And you can't say, oh, I'm not going to do that because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. So we have to be flexible. We've got to be like Curious George and be of service, right? We've got to be courageous, and we have to not be afraid to fail. And then finally, we have to invest. And we're investing in ourselves. And how do you do that? This is one of the ways that you invest in yourselves, by coming to the LEAD conference. and being involved in your school. And this is an opportunity to network, not only network with the people at your school and your faculty advisors, but to network with the other faculty advisors here, with the other students here, because you never know where your journey will lead you as you are being courageous, as you're striving to seize your life, correct? Anybody, are you guys following the rules? It looks like you guys are sitting together. Anybody sitting by someone not from their school or that they did not come with? Ah, okay. I'm going to remember that. Mentor. Anybody have a mentor in here? Do you know what a mentor is? Have you heard that before? So a mentor, a lot of times people use the phrase mentor as a person that has an experience that can help you, guide you, coach you along your journey as you strive to reach your vision. But I find that it is important to have a mentor. When you think about a mentor for your career path, you think about a mentor in college. I know I had a professor that truly guided me in choosing classes when my freshman year in college. But then I think you can become a mentor. I know a lot of high schools are doing programs where they mentor kids in middle school or they mentor kids in high school to help them get ready to move on to middle school and to move on to high school. They kind of give them that big brother, big sister, but I'm looking out for you advice. And then you can co-mentor. And I love co-mentoring circles, and that's when you might be the person with the least amount of experience and you're partnered up with somebody that has a lot of experience, but you guys are equal players. So you realize that not one person is greater than the other. I'm going to learn from them, they're going to learn from me. And so we call that co-mentoring. So I would encourage you to find some kind of mentoring relationship as you are investing in yourself. And then finally, body, mind, and spirit. A couple weeks ago, you guys on Facebook still? I heard kids on Facebook. Okay, so I posed this question on Facebook to my friends. I said, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self? And I was surprised by all the responses that I got. I got over 200 responses. And when I was tallying them all up, so many of the responses had to do with this body, mind, and spirit that, I thought I'd be young forever and I didn't eat right or I didn't work out. I didn't continuously build these habits, and I know I'm guilty of it. I never was an athlete in school, but I used to play around a little bit more than I did. Or I didn't maintain balance because I was so focused on achieving the win I. So from my friends on Facebook, invest in yourself through your body, your mind, reading, recharging, and your spirit. That's a part of the being grounded, whether you practice yoga, go to church, have a spiritual practice or not. But make sure that you are investing in your personal self to maintain balance. These are other examples of how you can invest in yourself. And then finally, as we talk about being an energized leader, we have to remember that when you are an energized leader, you are able to seize your life because you are fully engaged in what? The present, right? We're not worried about when and you are equipped and empowered to lead others with creativity, compassion, and what else? Resilience, thank you. Good, yeah, Mr. Startup right there. So I want to thank you very much. So yesterday I sat in on Heather's presentation, and I sat next to these ladies from West Tech, from Las Vegas. Where are you, ladies? Oh, hi, you guys are okay, you moved from over there. I have a book called Seize Your Life, Carpe Diem Every Day, and I'm going to give you guys a copy because I thought you guys were a lot of fun. I actually am going to be signing books in the back. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to meet with you. I can't forget my partner, my accountability partner, my vision partner. We've got to connect, get each other's information. Thanks so much for having me. I hope that you remember that you are going to seize your life because you are already an energized leader. Carpe Diem.